In this video, I'm going to be breaking down a 57 kill game by one of the best players in the world, Shifty. I'll be analysing every area of his gameplay, but a major focus will be on his mechanics, something that he's been very well known for. Everything will be timestamped, so if you're interested in a particular area, then you can just skip to that. Shifty's YouTube and Twitch will be linked below, and I highly recommend you use them as an example for how to play Warzone. Animation cancel on the parachute, can look for a free kill with this AR. Don't jump off without getting info first though. If you can use high ground to get the kill, then do that. Now, I don't recommend pushing with the ground loot AR and quads, but if you're as skilled as Shifty, it really doesn't matter what you use. No wasted time looting, straight to next fight. Ducking under enemy's aim while un-ADSing, re-ADSing to adjust the centering, and immediately disengaging from that bad fight where he's off-center. Pre-aiming the push as soon as he's regained, not holding the pre-aim forever. This time using that couch to break the enemy's aim while un-ADSing, re-ADSing again. Going for that next one above.
Enemy soldier incoming.
ADSing while sliding, prepare to chow. Long slide around the corner with the pre-fire. Immediately taking that next chow with perfect centering.
Good kill. Marking the rest of that squad on your...
Going high ground to farm some parachuters. Putting pressure on enemies, not letting them set up. Breaking his fall with that railing. Not overcommitting to the push, staying close to the doorway in case he needs to disengage. Immediately backing off when he's weak in case the next guy's pushing. If you hear someone pushing, either run away or chow, don't keep plating. Hear people up top, gonna go fight them instead. Don't tunnel vision on one target. Hear people below, gonna fight straight away. ADSing while sliding, prepared to chow. Doing a really good job with his centering, anticipating enemies at every angle. Centering well with slight pauses as he goes up. Again, ADSing while sliding, this time jumping back towards cover and disengaging immediately because he's at a disadvantage. Going straight back as soon as he's regained. Doesn't know exactly where this guy is, hence the long slides. Gonna go for those red dots up top now. If you think they're gonna peek you, just pre-aim it, you don't need to push. Strafing left and right while staying close to the door. Disengaging immediately again because he's at a disadvantage. Shouldering the door, not overcommitting. Off center, and the other guy's already got a pre-aim on him, so he disengages. And look, it's just a much easier kill with the gas and cover. And again with the grenades, just making life easier for himself, because why not? Two guys down by the boat and he's got a lot of money. I think this is a bit of a misplay by Shifty. He's going for this guy that he hears in control, but he could have gone for those red dots, or at least bought a UAV to help find this guy quicker. The takeaway here is that if you can get more accurate information easily, then you should do so. Don't just rely on audio when trying to find someone. That said, the way he approached this search was quite methodical. He wasn't just running through the area blindly. Going for the red dot, but here's someone next to him. Hip fires into ADS while jumping back. Going back to that red dot now. Doesn't just turn around, he slide cancels while turning to throw the enemy's aim off. This guy's team's over the tents, but we still got that proc shatter somewhere here in control. And I do think Shifty should be buying at least one UAV here, if not then a portable, just for that accurate information. But anyways, getting some high ground, gonna farm parachuters for easy kills, really important thing that you gotta be doing in quads. And be patient, wait for them to parachute, shooting them too early will scare them off.
Yo, Shifty, you hear me?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we got a bunch, so we're putting this coming.
Unless you have aim like this and you know you can just beam them.
Yeah, go for it. I'm just gonna keep shooting bots.
Use your tac map to hunt down the rest of them.
Not really getting any kills anymore, gotta get a move on to someplace else. Now let's take a bit of a break and look at Shifty's mechanics. The green circle represents good centering and the red will be when it's bad. Shifty pretty much always has his aim centered at where he anticipates enemies to come from. And if during a fight it's not, then he uses his movement to help with this. And you're about to see it right here. Notice how as soon as the circle turns red, Shifty is crouching to throw the other guy's aim off. You can also see that he's un-ADSing, re-ADSing, which is much quicker than just ADSing to recenter. But with this next guy, he's way off with his centering and he needs to reload and plate. So obviously he disengages. The takeaway here is that if the enemy isn't in that green circle, then Shifty uses his movement to get them in that circle. We're going to see it again here. This time he uses the couch as his cover to duck behind and ADSs once centered. Standing up straight away to snap onto that target. Perfect centering with the pre-fires. And same thing with this next guy, sees him on the map. Now I want you to pay attention to how Shifty takes slight pauses at each angle when he's pre-aiming. He doesn't just run through the area, he's always anticipating that challenge by ADSing while sliding and centering his crosshair in the directions in which he thinks enemies are going to appear from. And we see that again here as he goes up the staircase. He's at a big risk if he just runs up, he could get chowed while he's sprinting. Now, there's a guy on the left and he's taking a lot of damage in this fight, so he's jumping back towards cover to limit his exposure and give himself some protection. Expect him to chow, and look, sometimes this happens, you're going to be off center. So what you want to do is move back while un-ADSing, re-ADSing, because you don't want to be cramped up in a fight like this. Off center again, so he slides towards the guy while hip firing and then jumps back while ADSing. This throws the guy's aim off twice. He would have been better shouldering the store, but he was looking down because that's where the red dot was earlier. Only ADSs and start shooting once he's centered. And look, as he drops down, he sees the other guy's got him pre-aimed, plus his iron sight's blocking his view. So never take a fight like this where you have two disadvantages. You gotta disengage and re-engage some other way. Continuing from where we left off, he's just trying to find a new hot area to play in. Recon drones give you a free UAV. When you hear someone close, you should be immediately turning your attention towards them. And going back to control would be a waste of time. Strafing while getting back to cover as he shoots. Tense is easier than the guy top living quarters. Centering exactly where he thinks that red dot's coming from. Ducking under that guy's aim and then jump shotting, moving twice. You gotta move in your fights. Few red dots down by stronghold.
Thanks for the work. UAV overflight terminated.
When you got an AR and high ground like this, just maintain it. No need to drop down. Teammates respawning, just be patient. Don't shoot too early, just let him parachute first. Yeah, look guys, I can sit here and say do this, do that, but if you want this kind of aim, you're going to have to put in a lot of hours of practice. And this XM4 has obviously been nerfed since this gameplay, but he was using a high bullet velocity class, meaning that it was pretty much like instant hit scan no matter the range. But anyways, he beamed a bunch of parachuters, like I said, free kills. You guys gotta look up every now and then. And notice how he hasn't even bought his loadout, but he basically has one, just grabs the essentials. If you have an opportunity to get a kill, then just take it. He's been hearing this guy up top, animation cancels the PRD, uses that heady, snakes it. Kind of an awkward fight though, and he's not really winning, so he drops down. He's going for round 2 here with a different approach. Perfect centering as he goes up. Look, this would be it for me. I wouldn't try to engage this guy again, and I think this is where Shifty's making a big mistake. He's overcommitting to this fight when he's already seen that it is difficult. There's spring mines, the guy's weird, it's just not worth the risk. If you feel that a fight's been dragging on for a long time, to like round 3, just go for a different team. And he is lucky here, but you do need luck on your side for a really high kill game. And look, he still has to put the work in, popping that stem straight away, breaking that guy's line of sight with the window. Smart moves. Don't panic in a situation like this. And as soon as he's regained, he goes to pre-aiming that push. And now he's back to taking the fight to them. I don't recommend this though, because he's been here for a while and he hasn't got any kills. That aside, look at the masterclass he's putting on with his centering. Every time he turns a corner, his crosshair is exactly where someone's chest would be. But yeah, like I said, I feel that this is a waste of time for just a few kills, and it's also quite risky. Now, I can't say what would have happened if he had gone prison or factory or something. Maybe he would have died straight away. Maybe he would have found an easier team. Can't say. But what I do know is that if you're spending a long time on one team, it's probably for a bad reason. Either they're good players, they're stacking, they're playing weird. They're just not the type of people that you want to fight. So if you feel that you've spent a long time on one team, try to reevaluate. Think about whether there's a different team that you could be fighting. And look, obviously he played it perfectly in the end by capitalizing on that opportunity with the PRD and then narrowing down where that last guy was, but you never know what could happen. Anyways, it's all to say that you should look to maximize your advantageous fights per minute and hence kills per minute. And for Shifty, especially on a game like this, 3 kills in 2 minutes is quite low. Finally spends his money though. I think he spent it pretty well buying that specialist. Me personally though, I would have gotten advanced as well. And sure, smart play with the PA, why not? And when you're ziplining, open up your tac map to explore your options. Gonna go for that team at control, line up top and beam them with the XM4. When you have a high ground advantage like this, make sure you're capitalizing on it. Don't stand too far on the edge where you're overexposed. Stand a bit back so that you still have cover and maintain it. Stay up there. As long as it's effective, you don't need to drop down. And notice how he's still up there. He didn't drop down because he didn't need to. Alright, so he's on high ground, has no information, has to go by it. When you pop a UAV, obviously you're focusing on people close to you, but try to look at others further away too, because they might be important later on. Still trying to get that kill in the tower. I think he just wants to clear it. He really should be focusing on that guy parachuting, not the tower. Unfortunately, he missed out on that kill because he was so focused on the tower. And guys, remember to look up. There's always free kills in quads.
Operators from that squad. Hunt them down.
He doesn't need to push this, he can just aim it up with the XM4. But now he doesn't have a line of sight, so he has to push. And he's making sure that guy can't go anywhere, that he's stuck. You gotta put pressure on people. If you don't, they're gonna regain and challenge you or run away.
Enemies are dropping into the area.
He always uses that PRD. You gotta animation cancel it though, otherwise it's pretty slow.
Still operational.
If you're already set up and you've got UAV money, then just buy that. It's the most important item. Alright, target selection. Going back down to living quarters would be a waste of time, just like with control before. So he's fighting headquarters, a hotter, more central area. Pay attention to how he's looking up, because that's his biggest threat. And he un-ADS re-ADS because he was aiming too far to the right, plus jump shotted because he was aiming too low. Not the best centering that time, pre-firing in case he chows, realizes he's not, so decides to push, and just start shooting the moment you slide in to guarantee first shot. When someone slides towards you like that, you have to un-ADS re-ADS. Don't try to track them while ADSing, you'll be too slow. Getting high ground's a good idea if you don't have any info, could maybe get some kills as well. And have a look at how Shifty's just quickly adjusting himself here. When you're not doing much, you can take a moment to just chill. Alright, so we're up top, not seeing or hearing anything. Probably should go get some info at the buy. Now why doesn't he just go straight to the buy? That would be the quickest way to get there, right? Well, he doesn't know who's in these two houses, so by running above them, he can hear if anyone's inside. By the way, run with your knife, especially when you know that you're not going to have to fight anytime soon. Just heading towards these red dots at living quarters. Now, you got to think about how you're going to fight this guy, based on where that red dot is. And he's clearly just standing next to the buy, so there's no need to push him. Another target selection decision to make here. Going down to living quarters would be a mistake. He'd be playing low ground, he'd give up that high ground circle advantage, so much better to fight this control team. And in situations like this, especially during endgame, be patient, take your time, you don't need to rush into it. And again, doesn't need to push. He's good here on high ground behind cover with the XM4. Now that he's got those 2 downs, he can push up, and he should, because that positioning is no longer effective. He's given away information from there. And if you have access to cover during a fight, use it. Make sure you get all the downs before you start finishing too. And watch your minimap as soon as you finish the fight, because other enemies are going to be focusing on your direction.
The enemy lost track of you. Down there.
Shifty's always going forwards. He's always putting the pressure on his enemies, not letting them breathe. Backs off because that's not really the best fight to be taking, but he gets it down, so now it is. And don't be afraid to play the gas, especially when you got a mask and stims. Again, take your time and get info before you make a move. He's still just maintaining this high ground and cover. Not a good place to take that fight from. Caught by surprise and still gets back behind cover, stays calm. Just such a messy situation. He did everything he could, used 2 stims. That specialist really helped him though with the smoke, and you do need luck going your way for these kinds of games. And he's just using that cover, maintaining his high ground. He doesn't need to drop down just yet. He's good for now. Notice how he's not overexposing himself on that high ground too. He's standing far enough back with the rocks protect his body. And when you get someone weak like that, just use your nades to down them. Also look up, if you can kill parachuters for free, do that because they might be annoying later. Just playing the gas and working covers. When you know it's just one, immediately take that fight. You need to get him out. And don't thirst your down, focus on that next guy. Sometimes you just gotta take the fight with what you got too. He only had 1 plate when he chowed, but it's much better to be the one pushing than the one getting pushed. And look at that, instead of reloading out in the open, he uses that cover. And he makes very purposeful decisions. He goes from cover to cover while centering in the direction in which he anticipates those enemies to come from. And just maintains that cover while hitting all his shots. Really doesn't need to do too much here. And just like that, it's GG's. Made it look so easy.
Oh my god. Might have been my best gameplay ever. Like, no bullshit.
To finish up, I want to talk about things that Shifty did good and not so good. So, starting with the pros, I thought he did a great job of centering his crosshair in directions in which he anticipated enemies. This made it a lot easier for him to aim and also prepared him for the challenges. Next, he always made instant decisions, whether this was to capitalize on an opportunity or to run away from a bad fight. And you gotta be doing this. You can't be hesitating in those situations. Now, despite having probably the best mechanics on Warzone, he used positioning a lot. He wasn't just pushing everyone. Anytime he had access to cover or high ground, he was capitalizing on it. And finally, building on that last point, he used everything at his disposal. We saw grenades, PRDs, UAVs, a deployable cover at the end, everything. Now, moving on to things that I think he could have done better. First one is spending more money at the start. I think that he wasted time looking for people based on just audio and could have got a portable or UAV up to just speed up the process. And the other one is tunnel vision. Now, I was talking about this quite a bit at Living Quarters. I think he spent too long fighting that team and definitely could have gone somewhere else. And then later on too, we saw him tunnel visioning on that tower, not being able to get that parachute kill. But look, obviously that's me being pretty critical of his gameplay for the sake of this analysis. In reality, he played pretty much perfectly. And like I said at the start, check out Shifty on YouTube and Twitch, watch how he plays, and try to replicate what he does because he's a great example for how you should be playing Warzone.